guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Marisa, and in today's video, we're going to be visiting as many bookstores as possible in London. So fun fact about me, I was actually born and raised in England, not London, but I am from there, and I actually haven't visited in 10 years. It's literally been a decade since I last set foot in England, and so I'm really excited to go back and see family. But obviously, since I'm a book girly, I thought I would try to visit as many bookstores as I can. So at the time when I was living in England, I was not a reader at all. I wasn't into books, and so the only bookstore I really went to was Waterstones, which is basically like their Barnes & Noble. But since I'm now really into reading, I thought it would be really fun to see how many bookstores I can go to and just see what it's like book shopping in London versus in California. Okay, starting off this video, I need to pack. I have my suitcase right here, and I thought I'd pack while I talk to you guys to make things easier. So the reason we're actually going on this trip is because it's our 7-year anniversary. I've always wanted to show my boyfriend around England, and I've just never had the chance to do it before, and so now it's like a perfect time for us to go. And while we're there, I thought I might as well go to bookstores. I remember Waterstones really well, at least the one in my hometown, but I don't think I've ever been to the one in London before. But yeah, I am really looking forward to going book shopping there. That's obviously not the purpose of the trip. I'm also seeing family that I have not seen in 10 years, which is insane, and I'm so excited for it. But we are going there to specifically do touristy things, and there's some touristy stuff that my boyfriend wants to do that is not of interest to me at all. Like, he wants to go to this F1 arcade where you like fake drive a car, and me and my cousin don't want to do that. So during that time, maybe I can go to a bookstore instead. I'm also excited to do some book shopping, also because in different countries, they literally have different editions of books. And so if I see a really cute book where the cover is different, I can just buy it because I'll be there. I'm not planning on buying too many books because I literally have so many books I have not read. So I was kind of blabbering on at this point, but basically the idea was that I was only going to buy books that had specific covers that were unique to the UK, because obviously I don't need to buy every book that I see over there. That's not the whole point of book shopping. I mainly just wanted to see the differences between the bookstores over there versus in the US, and yeah, just have fun with book shopping and have a good time on my trip. Okay, so the first bookstore that we went to was Waterstones, and I actually don't remember which part of London this was because I was just too excited the entire day about the fact that I was actually there. But it was a really cute Waterstones, it was 2 stories, and it just had a really great amount of books. The one thing I did notice was that the fiction and fantasy were kind of mixed together, which was a little bit confusing because personally I prefer it when, you know, fantasy and fiction are completely separate because I treat them like very different genres. But this was a gorgeous bookstore and they had gorgeous different covers, and I did get a few books from this store specifically, so yeah, I was really happy with this one. Also, in case you're wondering, my cousin really likes reading as well, and she really likes crime and thriller stuff, so it's not like I was completely forcing everyone to go to a bookstore when I'm the only reader. She likes reading too, and so it was fun to just look around together and see what different books they had.
I don't read books.
So that was actually my fiance Arman, and he was my boyfriend before the trip, but then he proposed to me midway through.
There is one book I actually want to see if they have.
That's so funny, I was literally just going to talk about this book. Oh my gosh. But look at this cover. Is that not stunning? So it was a very successful first stop at the bookstore, and I was very happy with it. I wasn't sure if I was actually going to buy anything at the first bookstore, but I saw books that I absolutely just had to grab. Also, that's my family to the left. Aren't they so cute? It was so amazing seeing them. Like, I can't even explain how unreal it was to see them after 10 years. Later on in the day, after some lunch, we visited Foyles or Foyleys. Can someone please tell me how to pronounce this in the comments because I genuinely have no idea. But basically this was the second bookstore that we went to, and this one was actually 5 stories tall, so I knew I definitely wanted to come here. but I will admit I never went higher than the first 2 floors, and that's because by each staircase it tells you what books are on each floor, and beyond the 2 floors there wasn't really any other books I'd be interested in. They were all like true crime or history or languages or art and photography, and then the top floor was a cafe, which I really wanted to see, but I'm not kidding, this was later on in the day when we were absolutely exhausted and I did not have it in me to walk up any more stairs because my feet were dying. But I will say I really liked this bookstore. It was the only bookstore that I saw that had a dedicated romance section, which is about to come up. The fantasy was cool, but this little corner of romance was the cutest thing I've ever seen, and it's not in any other bookstore that I visited in London. They were all very focused on fiction, and romance was mingled in with fiction, but this was the only bookstore I saw where the romance was actually separated. They weren't just on a display table, it was actually its own romance section, and it even had a little corner called Romantasy section, which I just thought was so adorable and so cute. I did spend quite a bit of time in this bookstore browsing around, also because my family went up to the cafe to relax, so it was nice to just be able to look around, and I saw all this cute horror stuff, and then they also had a really nice sale section, which is really unique, and then they had a massive classic section. It was just so many books in this store, and it was just incredible. Highly recommend if you're in London and you want to visit a bookstore. The third bookstore we visited that day was called Henry Pord's Books, and it was basically like an antique bookshop, which was really cool. I didn't end up getting anything because I'm not really an antique book type of collector, but I do love looking at them and feeling how old the books are. They also had cool maps and some art things around. It was just very cool to look at. Everything in this bookstore was old. I didn't see anything new, and it was just really interesting to see. They also had some unique special editions of things, so if you are into this kind of stuff, I'd highly recommend going to this store because they even had that section in the back that was blocked off that I think you had to ask the bookkeeper to allow you into. So it was just overall a very cool store, just not the type of stuff I buy, but it was so cute to see, and it was actually the only kind of old bookstore like this that we actually visited because I'm very into the newer books. So we spent a lot of time going to other new bookstores, but this one itself, it was so cute, so charming, and it had like the cutest little display in the corner with some lights and decor, and I would highly recommend just go here and check it out. Even if you're not into collecting old books like I am, just go and look at it because it was so adorable and so cute. Like, look at this special edition of this Agatha Christie book. Like, I'm pretty sure you could find some very unique and rare stuff in this bookstore. I'm not sure where they get their stuff from. Like, how can you have a whole bookstore where you only sell old stuff? It's very unique to me. I've never really seen anything like it, and I'm just not sure where they get their stuff, but it was really cool, and I definitely recommend visiting any kind of store like this. So anyway, at the end of the day, I thought we were done looking at books, but we had a 30-minute wait before our train back home, and so we went into WH Smith. Now, if you're not from the UK, basically, this is like a stationery shop, which I literally don't think we have in America, except for like Papyrus, but it's not the same thing. It's like a very everyday stationery type of store, and they've always had a bookstore inside, and this one in the train station actually had a massive book section. It was even bigger than the Henry Pord's bookstore that we went to, and they just had so many popular books and just amazing selection of things that I think everyone could read and would want to read. That's my cousin again, isn't she so cute? I miss her so much. Like, it literally hurts me editing this video and not being with her. Like, it makes me so sad. But anyway, the bookstore itself was really cute, and I know some people wouldn't consider this a bookstore, but genuinely they had so much, I consider it one.
We're in London, baby.
London! Wait, where's their gun? Big Ben! London!
So I know I said this was day 2. This isn't day 2 of our trip. This is just day 2 in London specifically. And this was bookstore number 5 that we went to. And it was basically the foils that's along the River Thames. And it was really cool. I really loved this store. It was so cute inside. I don't even know what kind of store this would remind me of, but it was so cool. They had so many brand new books right at the front, which is this section right here, and it was just stunning. Like, all the displays, and I loved the handwritten notes from all the different employees saying their favorite books and things like that. Like, it was just so cool, and I really loved this store.
God, I want the dark umbrella.
Sorry, I didn't mean to turn it off. 40 pounds. I don't want it that much.
It's so cute.
Cool.
Yeah, so she's basically like my older sister, so I'm going to include all the clips of her that I'm in love with. But yeah, this bookstore was really cute. I love their fiction section. It was actually really big and they had so many books to choose from. That's the section right here. And I just loved the way it was displayed. It was just so like specific, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like this doesn't make any sense if you're not into books, but I feel like if you're into books and you go into a bookstore and it's not displayed in the right way, it's really difficult to browse and it gets really annoying. But this bookstore was very well done. I just loved the way it was, and I did end up buying one book from here. But otherwise, you know, I was trying to limit myself, not shop too much, and the young adult section was kind of small. But other than that, this store was really cute. I loved the way it was displayed, and I was just happy to shop there. And this was the only bookstore we visited that day. All day we were busy doing other things. My boyfriend was buying me a ring that I was unaware of. So yeah, we only went to one bookstore on this day. So the next bookstore we visited is Daunt Books, and I really liked this store. Like, I don't know how to describe it again, but it was just like the way it was set up and laid out was gorgeous. But my only complaint was that the romance section was not separated, which was the same situation as the Foyleys bookstore that we had just been to. Like, I don't know why this is a theme in maybe London. I don't know if it's about all over England as well, but the romance is just blended in with fiction, and I just find that really difficult to browse. But other than that, I still really liked this store. Everything was organized in a really good way, and I really liked it. And they had a lot of gorgeous, like, UK editions, like the Emily Henry stuff that I know people love, and the Fourth Wing paperback looked really cool, but I have 2 hardcovers of Fourth Wing, and I was like, I don't need to add another one to my shelf. But it was just a gorgeous store to browse through, and I found this book that I wasn't even thinking of getting. Like, I didn't even know about the UK version, and then I was on a mission to find a good edition of this book while I was there. So it was just a whole thing, and it was a really great experience going to this store. Also, I didn't get much footage of it, but the young adult section in this store was actually quite big. I noticed in the UK they call it teenage fiction instead of young adult, but it was a really decently sized section. I found that it tends to be quite small in the other bookstores, so yeah, this one was actually a really decent size. Look at this edition of Love and Other Words! So this bookstore actually had a massive downstairs section. It was way bigger than upstairs, and it was basically every different country, or at least a majority of countries, and all the different books that are based in these countries. And when I say that, I don't mean like this was a travel section. I mean, it genuinely had fiction based off of these countries. And that was like one of the coolest things I've ever seen in a bookstore. I've definitely never seen that before over here. Here we are. Our people.
Never been there.
Well, you haven't. Well, I mean, I haven't, you have, but Ocean Fire.
But basically, if you haven't been to Daunt Books, you definitely should. It was one of my favorite bookstores to visit while we were there. Now, the last 2 bookstores in this video are kind of cheating a bit because they're not in London. This is Waterstones from my hometown, and it was crazy going back after over a decade and seeing how it's changed since my childhood. I literally grew up visiting this bookstore all the time, and it was just wild to me. That's my best friend, isn't she so cute? Oh, this trip was just amazing. But yeah, basically, cute, gorgeous bookstore. Obviously the decor had changed, but it was really great seeing it again. And then I couldn't help it, but on our last day, we were at a shopping center called Blue Water, and there was a massive Waterstones, and so yes, we did visit yet another Waterstones. This was our 8th store of the entire trip, and at this point we were exhausted. But this was my last bookstore, and so I was dedicated to finding different editions of books from the US and trying to see what I could buy for my final trip. And I did end up getting some books at this store, so I was really happy with it. This one, although it did not have a romance section, it had these romance tables, which I did appreciate, but it's also kind of frustrating because it's only like the new authors or like popular authors, I guess. But if you just want to simply browse some romance, again, it's kind of difficult.
What's the damage report like?
This one is not damaged and buffed up, so now I can finally get it.
I literally traveled all through England just to find this one book.
Yeah.
Also, I got sick, so that's why my voice sounded a bit scratchy. But basically, I was looking for the goldfinch, and every single store that we went to, it was damaged, and it was really annoying me. And I don't like buying a brand new book if it's damaged, because I just don't see the point in that. So basically, I was hunting for a clean copy of this book, and on our last day, I finally found it and was able to buy it. But this store had a lot of gorgeous special covers. I mean, look at this cover of Belladonna. It was gorgeous. I don't own this book, and I ended up not getting on this trip, but maybe one day I will. I am back from my trip in London. It was such an amazing trip, and I have all the books that I bought with me so that we can go through them. So the first set of books I bought was the City of Brass series, and I have been wanting to read this series for a long time, but the reason I haven't is genuinely because I don't like the US covers, and I know that's silly. I know you shouldn't judge a book by its cover, I get it, but I have so many unread books on my TBR, and so I'm not going to buy a book where I don't like the cover and just add it to my shelf. I don't know if that makes sense in anyone else's head, but that's how it is for me. I love these covers. I don't know why, they're just so gorgeous to me, and they look so much more intriguing than the US ones. Also, the US ones are humongous. I don't know if you've seen them, but they're like so much taller. They're like the size of a Bible, and I don't want to add that to my shelf. They're like the size of a hardcover, but they're paperback. And I didn't even know these covers existed. And so when I saw these in the bookstore, I was like, yes, I'm going to buy these. So yeah, this was my first shopping spree. The next book I bought at a Foyle's bookstore, which is Babel by R.F. Kuang. I really love this cover. I just think it's so beautiful, and I love the gray and the gold stars and like the holographic effect here. I think I said in the beginning of this video, I'm only buying books that were unique to the UK editions. I didn't just want to buy a million books that we already have over here, and I really like this version. It's not that different from the US one, but I just think it's so pretty and I love it, and it doesn't feel as heavy as the US one, which I'm hoping will push me to read this sooner. So yeah, book spree number 2. And then my final book spree was these 3 books. I got Homebodies by Tembe Denton-Hurst. I think that's how you pronounce their name. And I love this cover. I had never seen this book before, never heard of it. I saw the cover, read the back, and it sounds so interesting. It's basically about a young Black writer who's facing a lot of racism when she's trying to write. And it just sounds so intriguing. I've never heard of it before. And I looked up the US cover because if it's the exact same in the US, I didn't want to buy it there. But the US cover was so dull compared to the UK one, and so obviously I had to buy it. The next book I got is The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt. This is the same author as The Secret History, which I have not read yet, but I do own it. And I really want to read this book. I've heard so many good things, but I wanted a decent size of this book. I'm not kidding. The US version is again like a whole Bible. It's massive, and I don't understand why. It doesn't need to be that big. So when I saw that the UK version was this small, I was like, that is perfect. That's exactly what I want. So obviously I had to get this one. And then the last book is Rouge by Mona Awad. Now listen, do I already own this book? Yes. Have I read it yet? No. But I saw this cover and it is just so beautiful. I have the US hardcover and then this UK paperback. And to be honest, I don't even know if I'll like this book. I read Bunny by Mona Awad and I actually really enjoyed it. It was a very hilarious, crazy story, and I thought I'd probably love Rouge as well. That's why I bought it when it came out, but I just haven't got around to reading it yet. And then I saw this version and I don't know what it is. I love it. I think it's stunning. The title as well kind of like sticks out. It's like a 3D textured shiny text and it's just so bright red and the rose. I had to get this one. So yeah, these are all the books I got on my trip in London, and we visited a total of 8 bookstores, which I'm very happy with. That was perfect for me. That might even been a little too much. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know down below in the comments if you have visited bookstores in another country and what you thought of them. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and ring the bell so you'll be notified about more content from me. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye!